that's
Kevin.
Yeah.
I feel terrible, and you're gonna hate me for this. I just went live. I recognize we've been talking the whole time between us without hitting the live button.
Someone just said maybe Brad wants to see how long
I saw
we were
that.
late.
I looked at it and I was like, what in the world is going on? And then it says, I forgot to, hey, welcome to the live show with the Bearded Bro Show. We've been going for a half hour. We got to now rehash everything that we've talked about for the last half hour. Kevin, this is where I ask for your apology, and I apologize to you. I ask you for your forgiveness on wasting a half hour of your life. Guys, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Everyone's texting me like, I keep seeing this. Like, why are they saying I do this? And I just got it.
The couple of the personal messages that I've gotten on Messenger.
Mm-hmm.
Now they make sense. Now they make complete sense.
Kevin and I have been going, and I have other messages right now that I haven't seen yet. Yeah, I hope all is well. Everyone's waiting for YouTube. Everyone's waiting for Facebook Live. So, hey, guys, again, I am very, very, very sorry for that. I did not hit the button that says go live now. I wonder why it was blue the whole time and not red like you're recording. So, again, I'm Bradley from Zeal Cigars. This is Kevin from Cigar Prop. We're going to rehash what we've been talking about for the last half hour. Been a great pre-show, though, Kev. At least you know got some rails to run on, brother. So we've literally been going for 2 hours. We've literally been going for 2 hours. Well, not for 2 hours, for a half hour. So
a half an hour. But Brad and I have had this.
We had some great conversation.
We had an amazing conversation for the last half hour.
And none of it's recorded.
Now everybody is coming in. It's Bradley screwed up. Brad owns this one. It is
Bradley screwed up. But Kevin's going to tell you a little bit about what he does as I check out a customer. So Kevin, tell me a little bit about Cigar Prop and what.
Oh my God! I am telling you right now. Like I said, we've been live for 30 minutes, or not. Brad and I talk. We had this amazing. I don't even know how we can even backtrack and come on to this again. Brad and I. Oh my God! So, well, first of all, welcome. I am Kevin Shahan. I own a cigar accessory company called Cigar Prop. We have a TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You can see us live every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The I Tap That Cigar Show presented by Corona Cigar. And we come live from the Drew Estate Experience Acid Studios. And one thing I want to bring up and mention, as I did the first time, everything Brad and I are about to talk about are our personal opinions. What I say is my personal opinion. It does not reflect the fine folks at Drew Estate and all of our other fine sponsors, advertisers, partners. So take everything with a grain of salt. And now all of these messages, personal messages. Ron, your message you sent me, it makes sense now. And oh my God, it's brutal. So we're gonna be talking about cigar bloggers versus versus is a wrong term. It's not cigar bloggers versus bloggers. It's basically cigar bloggers and cigar vloggers, because we all do the same thing. We all write about cigars. We all trying to inform you, the consumer, so you can make an educated decision to buy a cigar, a cutter, a lighter, a humidor. We all do the same thing. Like I said, we get, I get a lot of my information from wonderful bloggers like Half Wheel, Coop, Dojo, Cigar Craig, Boston Jimmy. They provide us with a lot of information about our cigars, because a lot of cigar manufacturers don't have great websites. Mm-hmm. So bloggers are integral in what I do, for you fine folks out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, what really kicked this thing off, guys, is we had Kevin had called me, and we're friends, and so Kevin called me and said, hey, by the way, I got some shade thrown at me this week, and somebody had literally said that I am the worst thing. You tell them that, and I'll kick it off from here after you tell them.
So I was, I was said, or it was said about me that I am the worst thing that has ever happened to the cigar industry ever. And it stung. It stung a little bit because it was said by somebody that I do respect. I respect what he does. I respect his platform. It is somebody I look up to. I hope to emulate my business model after his business model, because he has a great business model. So it hurt a little bit when I heard that, but that's something that and we got Caesar, we got a bunch of guys in the chat panel right now that are up and coming, and I just want to let them know that's what happens. When you pass that 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, we got 6,000 subscribers on YouTube. I have 21,000 followers on TikTok, 5,000 on Instagram. When you reach those levels, the hate starts to, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what happens. People just start saying bad things about you. And luckily, I have so many wonderful friends like Brad, Lee Max on the chat panel, Ron Real, my good buddy Craig Vanderslice, Cigar Craig, that have my back, that love me, that support me, and say great things. Saka absolutely tolerates me. He loves Jessica. And I have made so many. I'll tell you a quick story. Just the other day, and I told Jessica this, and I had a manufacturer reach out to me, and he just put in his first name a message, dude, Duuude, and then he comes back instantly with "What's up?" And I go, "Why?" And he goes, "No, I'm just seeing how you're doing, man." I go, "Oh, I'm sorry. Usually when a manufacturer comes at me like that, it's because I said some dumb shit and I need to apologize." I say dumb things all the time, and I have to apologize, and I've done it time and time again, is have to apologize to somebody because I have misquoted them. I have said something off the cuff. And generally I've said my opinion. And that's what hurts the most, is when someone takes offense to your opinion. It's not like I called somebody's cigar garbage, but if I say, it's not in my wheelhouse, it's not my cup of tea, it wasn't strong enough, or it was too strong. But yeah, so yeah, it's a whole thing out there.
So basically someone said something terrible about you, and you called me and said, you know what, how do you do it? Because we're buddies, you're just trying to figure out like how your buddies. Like, so what do you do? How do we, what do you think? And I'll say a couple things really quick. And I've said similar things like this before on similar podcasts, whatever this live thing is that we're doing, the Beer Bro Show. First, I love and hate social media. Okay, I love it. It's great for my business. It sells lots of cigars for us here. I enjoy using it to connect with people all over the world about cigars. That's the really cool part about it. I get to meet some really cool, new, interesting people that I would never meet otherwise through social media. And it's bringing tons of people together in really good ways. But what's happened? Go ahead.
No. And maybe we can touch on this for 1 second, Brad, and then we can come back. There's a gentleman in the chat panel. He had said that I said that I consider myself a brand ambassador or a business. That my motto of the company is a brand, a journey, a way of life. I am a brand. Brad Reith, you are a brand. You are no longer a person.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
And not as a brand, as in a shill for a company, but you are a brand. I am a brand. Kevin is a marketable object. So it is a we are brands. At this point, Lee Mack is a marketable item, a marketable person. He is what he has done as a brand. Same with Ron Real.
Let me push back on that for a second. But you're not just a brand. You're a person.
You're not just a brand. Yes,
you're a person too. And I'll say, before you're a brand, you're a person. And I think, unfortunately, when the brand and the person in the business gets confused, or the person can't just take something as a business issue versus taking it personal, then it really gets confusing. And I think that's the thing about social media I don't like. And I said this before with Kevin, probably a little more impassioned than I will say right now. But last time The thing that I don't like about social media is I think it is by far the most cowardice, unmanly, insecure thing you can ever do is posting hate on social media. It is the absolute throwing shade, posting hate. Now, have I probably done that somewhere in my past? You can probably pull up a post. Yes. Was that cowardly and unmanly and unchivalrous and unchristian? Yes, it was, and it was terrible, and I should never do it, and nobody else should, because it doesn't really resolve anything. It just feeds the drama that people want, And here's the thing: we're all trying to minimize drama. We just got through 2020. We just got through 2020. 2021's like hold my beer, and we're like,
Yeah.
come on, hold on a second. Let's come together. Let's get a Coke commercial. Get a Coca-Cola commercial. Teach the world to sing. Something like that. We'll just do it with bourbon. So and the fact of the matter is, when the brand and the person become inseparable from each other, well, then people expect you to always be marketing yourself. And the fact of the matter is, Kevin, when I'm out at Dave & Buster's with my kids, or I'm out different places like that, I have no problem saying hi to people. I'm like, hey, man, watch your show. I'm like, thank you so much. But to take and invade my space with my kids and my wife and pull me aside from that, for overall discussion about something that you think I should do as a business, this has happened multiple times. I can't do that right now. If you want to set a time to come to the shop and talk with me, that's another thing. But right now I'm out with my wife and my kids. And that's when you separate brand from person. So Bradley Reith, the dad, Bradley Reith, the husband, Bradley Reith, the son, Bradley Reith, the brother, is very different than Bradley Reith or Zeal Cigars, the brand. It just really is, because the brand doesn't deal with, this is what happened when my daughter got in a car wreck. That's not the brand. That's Bradley Reith, the dad. Does it make sense? So
Yeah.
you have to, and I think one of the things that can really go a long way for everybody in this industry is being able to separate the two and go, you know what, that's Saka the husband. That's Saka the dad. That's Saka this. And it's really cool in our industry because those get really interwoven sometimes, but there's certain times we don't recognize boundaries with that. We don't recognize certain things. We're like, that's a boundary I'm crossing right now. I don't need to go into that. I don't need to go into that. Now, here's another thing, and I do this quite frankly with a lot of people. When the influencer invites you into something that could be a perceived boundary to give you a little view into their life of something that you would not get otherwise, feel privileged. That's pretty cool, because he doesn't do that on a daily basis. So when someone pulls you aside and say, this is my daughter, this is my son, I'm so proud of him, or they post up things like I do with my kids all the time and you do with your kids all the time. I mean, that's a privileged thing to do, because we want to make sure we separate our family from our business so that family just doesn't think everything is business. And that's how we stay healthy. But I'll tell you what, I want to say specifically to the bloggers out there that have disdain for the YouTubers that are out there. I see all YouTubers that are coming, dude. You guys are great. Bradley Carson, new kid out there, he's up there. I mean, Caesar, all those guys. Ron Real, dude. Yeah, dude.
Nobody's getting it like Ron, and nobody, and unfortunately, what I hate, which makes my heart hurt about Ron, is he's so new to like this world. He's grown so fast. I have taken years to get where I want. His hate has come like really quickly, too quickly, for him. And he handles it well, though. He handles it so good. He doesn't, you're talking about 2 years ago. You say some of the things to me that you say now, or you say about Ron right now, and it's on. I'll take a plane to show up at your house. And I have
Ron, I love you, brother. I mean, you're killing it. You're crushing it. You're doing great. I love it. I watch your stuff. Lee Mack is like, you call him Uncle Lee Mack. Absolutely. 100% Uncle Lee Mack. I mean, when Lee Mack makes a video, you just watch it just to get through your day, and we all know it. I love it.
It's great, and he made a comment in the chat panel about you giving me some advice that I should listen to, and I should. I have a path that I am on, and as always, we want to try and get to our destination as fast as possible, and so I tend to neglect my family just a little bit more, and I have to apologize. Just last night, Jessica, she said, over the last 4 days, I have watched 3 movies and read 2 books by myself, while you've been on these lives and these Zooms. But she is also understanding, because luckily she is part of the business. Right. So she sees what it takes, and she knows I have an end goal in mind, and it's close, it's there, it's all these things that are happening. And but yes, I should be a better father, a better
Well,
husband, a better son.
we were talking about this last time before we ever went live. If somebody wants to, get in line to hate me, step in. There's a big long line. There really is. There's a big long line. But I tell you who doesn't hate me, man. My wife, my 2 teenagers, my daughter, my mom, my dad, and my sister. Those are the closest people to me, and they don't hate me. So if everybody else hates me, if those people still love me and I'm still good with them, guess who's going to be at my funeral? None of you. You won't. In 10, 15 years or whenever this is, I'll be forgotten, and we'll all be forgotten and everything else like that. We won't know Zeal Cigars or Cigar Prop or anything else like that. Somebody will brand something new, and somebody else will be new out there. But it's the time with your family that you never get back. And in fact, I'll tell you a little story real quick. I get choked up. I'm sorry. I'm a big baby. Y'all know it. So I go to church on Wednesday nights, and there's no secret I'm a Christian and everything. And at church, we have a men's night. It's like 300 dudes. It's crazy. It's a cool thing. And I go to a big church, but it's cool. And my son-in-law walks in, and he doesn't go to the men's thing because I'm there, because he doesn't want to be around. I'm the father-in-law now, right? It was cool when I was like Savannah's dad, but now I'm the father-in-law. So I guess I don't know. But he comes in, and I said, "Hey, Ethan, what's up, buddy? Come over here and sit at my table," because I run a table with about 12 guys. And so the pastor preaches for about 45 minutes, and we have a discussion on how to be better fathers and better husbands, right? And so it was such an honor to have him sit at my table. And it was such an honor to have my son-in-law not hate his father-in-law. Like, to say, like, the biggest honor of my life, I'll just be honest with it. Biggest honor is to say, Brad's been great as a father-in-law. He's been great. He raised a great gal. And that's a lot due to her mom, no doubt about that, But in all honesty, it's those moments that we can't get back, with our family. My daughter's 20. My son-in-law, when he finally gets things going, and my daughter has to move because she's getting a degree in something that's specialized. I can't talk about it right now, but it's specialized in a certain type of neuroscience that is focused studies in Texas. So they might have to move. And so I'm just glad that, like, I had all that time, and I would trade every subscriber, every social media account, all that stuff to just see my son-in-law and to see my kids. Like, I come home, my kids, like, sometimes I get home late at night, like at 10 o'clock at night, and my kids come out. They're in their bedrooms, all like still playing on their phones. They come out, "Dad, what's going on?" My kids like me, man. My wife likes me. I enjoy that. I married my best friend. So in all honesty, like, so I had somebody was telling me this. They're like, "You're one of the most hated personalities on YouTube, Bradley." And I'm like, "Okay, we'll get in line." I assumed that I would be. You don't do anything, okay, on social media without getting hate. You just don't, But the fact of the matter is, like, get in line. Just think about who I am for 1 second, okay? I'm a white, straight Christian guy over 46 years old. Okay, I'll be 47 in July, who loves Jesus and thinks that he's the solution for America's problems. Now, get in line, and everyone's going to hate me. I'm a bigot. I'm a racist. I'm all these other. They're just going to call me all kinds of things, right? They're going to do it.
It's true. I get the hate because of this. Because of this right here. This is the hate that I get, is because no decent a cigar smoker, somebody that will call himself an ambassador, an influencer, would ever promote all of this and smoke this. I guess we don't get to smoke what we like, and what we enjoy. I don't smoke acids every day. I smoke an acid once a month, but the hate, that I get for smoking a cigar that I enjoy, it's absolutely insane.
I'll tell you this much, which is really, really important. And I appreciate this from Cigar Crazy 84. If they're hating you now, then you must be doing something right. And people usually hate on something because they're jealous, or they hate on something because they're not as talented at it or something like that. So I would say, if you got that kind of shade thrown at you, man, it's probably because they can't do what you do. And there's a reason that bloggers are bloggers and vloggers are vloggers. Vloggers are a little bit more entertaining. You can put up with them a little bit longer. My videos are somewhere between I don't know, 15 to 18 minutes, that type of thing. So that's about as much as I can put up talking to myself on camera, right? So there's a point where, like, that's just kind of how it is. And that can be celebrated versus, like, being divisive, And I think that's the thing that we're trying to get back to here, particularly in the vlog sphere, is like, why would I hate anybody else trying to do cigar reviews? I would love that. I'd love watching cigar reviews. I think it's great when these young guys they'll text me, or not text me, but they'll Facebook message me or DM me on Instagram like, "Hey, I want to start a cigar review." I'm like, "Well, go ahead, go for it, dude."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, where do I start?" I'm like, "Get a cigar, smoke it, and talk to a camera about what you think." And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, how do I pull out flavors? I'm like, "I don't know." It developed for me over a couple years, and that's how it is.
That's it. We mentor quite a few channels, and not even all cigar. It's crazy. A couple of the big companies, like, you would think that would have a team of a dozen people, and then they reach out to me and be like, "Hey, we'd like to get you some information. Or get some information from you. Have you talk to us, our team, or a person, how you do that?" And I'm like, that's just insane. But yeah, I just tell everybody, turn the camera on and start talking. Content. Worry about getting better, over time. But it is what it is. But the bloggers, and I don't know what your thoughts of this or what anybody else's thoughts in the chat panel. The only thing I can think of for the longest time, there's only been, I would probably say, a half a dozen. There are dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of dozens of blogs out there. But There's been a half a dozen really good, time-tested blogs. And they've had this cookie jar of the cigar world all to themselves. They've had, this cookie jar full of oatmeal raisin cookies forever. Brad and I and Lee Mack and Ron Reel and Vic and all these guys.
And Tim from Cigars Daily. All those guys. Those guys, that's a threat to the cookie jar.
Yeah, that's it. Not only did we want a cookie, we changed the cookies. Like, we don't want oatmeal anymore. We want chocolate chip. And the old guys are like, well, we like our oatmeal cookies. Well, this is a new world. We would like chocolate chip, and we want our cookie.
And by the way, the only way to stomach oatmeal cookies is with chocolate chips. Put them in there, and you'll love them.
And don't give me one of them oatmeals with raisins and make me think it's a chocolate chip. I will stab you. Mess with me on give me a fake ass chocolate chip cookie. It's got oatmeal with some. But yeah, so I don't know. Maybe that could be it. Maybe that's not it. I don't know. I don't know where the animosity comes from, because we're all doing the same job. We're all reviewing a cigar. This blogger, he writes about the cigar with his tasting notes. This blogger, this guy gives it an 89. This guy gives it a 92 with completely different tasting notes. Brad does a review, gets these notes. I do a review and get these notes. But then at the end of the day, that guy that smokes it, he doesn't. And I've heard it, and he goes, "Hey man, they'll reach out to me. I didn't get any of that chocolate. I didn't get any of that cinnamon. I'm sorry. I don't know."
Well, I think that's the other thing too that's really cool about having a diverse group of people smoke different sticks. You can get some different flavors, and everyone's palate's on a journey. Now, I will say there are consensus in major cigars. So someone, and I won't air out dirty laundry. I'll just say somebody had mentioned to me, "Did you hear what someone said about you on another cigar channel?" I'm like, I don't hear that, and usually when I hear that, I try to ignore it because I'm busy. And they go, "Well, they said that you don't have a palate and that your palate's terrible." And I said, "Oh, okay. I think major manufacturers would disagree with that, and not just because of cigar sales. I've had multiple manufacturers give me cigars and ask what the region was, what the Visa Ligero Seco blends were, things like that. And I wouldn't say I nailed them 100%, but I got very close on most of them. But if you go back through my history, I'm not trying to post up here. I'm not trying to get in the lane and slam dunk. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just saying, you go through my history this last year. How many cigars did I review that I said were bangers that were on the top 25? Yep, dude. Yeah, I mean, I'm just telling you. I think good guys that know cigars do have a similar palate in certain ways, particularly if you review cigars. But guys that get different notes doesn't mean that they're wrong. And by the way, just when it comes to tasting cigars, there can be about 3,000 different things that throw off your palate. It could be your mood. It can be the humidity. It can be where you're smoking it. It can be what you ate beforehand if you didn't cleanse your palate before. all those different things. If you're what you're drinking with a cigar, if you're drinking Coke or Sprite or lemonade or purple Pedialyte, no, strawberry Pedialyte. Somebody mentioned that to me the other day. I was like, what? So anyways, there's a thousand different things that could throw you off. But when I mean, who, and I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just trying to make a point for my palate. Like, I called out Steve Saka's Tricky Traka this year as #1 Maduro before anybody else posted it up, before any of the magazines or anybody else like that. Okay, I did. Called it. Said it. I said that Fazanka should be the #1 cigar. It was #1 cigar of the year for me. Okay, by my father. I said #1 cigar for me. It's a Cigars and Aficionado ranked it at 17 or 18. I can't remember. And then the Camacho Nicaragua, great cigar. I was like, that's my palate cigar. This cigar is a banger. Got 18, 17 or 18. I can't remember which those two got. And then there's some other ones in there too. I think one Olivas was in there and some other ones. But case in point, guys, you can trust people's palate. Just watch them and watch how authentic they are when you relate to them on social media in particular, and watch if they throw hate or if they respond to hate. Just
and I was going to bring up the one good thing that vloggers offer other than bloggers. When you're writing a blog, it's a piece of paper or it's your screen that you're reading it on, and you don't know what's going on at that time. When Brad is reviewing a cigar, you can watch your mannerisms. Now I have tells, and same with Jessica, so when you're watching us do a cigar review, you're watching us, you're watching live, you can see our faces. There are times where I've hunted for something good to say, then someone would make a comment. You didn't overly enjoy that cigar, did you? And it's like, what was it? Was it obvious? And like, yeah, it was kind of obvious. And then it's like, yeah, you try and say nice things because, not every cigar, you're not going to like every cigar. I'm not going to like them all. But I never want to say anything bad about a cigar. There are a lot of these bloggers that I read, and they say some bad things at times, and it's like, that there's no need for that, because just because it didn't hit your palate just right, there's always something. It's either the construction was good or just whatever. I love the band, I love the box, I love the history, I love the story behind it. There's always something good, because people that are watching us, they're relying on us. They're watching you for a reason, and they need some information to make that decision about buying that $5 cigar, $10 cigar, $20, $30, $40 cigar. And that's the benefit of watching a blogger or vlogger versus someone writing a blog.
Well, and even in the vlogging sphere, if you would, and we're not really vloggers, we're more just reviewers or YouTubers. Vlogging, I think of it, you want to, I got to sneeze. Pardon me, guys. When I think about vlogging, I think like you're invited into their whole world. You're like with them the whole time. The Logan Paul type stuff, all that kind of stuff. You're with them the whole time. The videos that we do, the lives that we do, and I've reiterated this before, and I'll reiterate it again. Kevin and I are very different cigar reviewers. I am selling cigars. Kevin is simply just reviewing cigars. Okay, that's a very different thing. I'm not. If I smoked a cigar and I didn't like it, I didn't bring it in and I didn't review it. And there's a reason I don't have that cigar in. Now, if I smoke a cigar and I like it and I want to sell it, then I review it. That type of thing. And I don't review every cigar in my humidor. And there's some that I like a lot more than others. They're just the fact that the matter is. But so when you're listening to someone like me, I'm always selling you. And that's I get that question all the time. Like, dude, you're just such a salesman. You're always selling me. Or my favorite comment is, "Dag on it, Bradley. You sold me again. I got to get this one now." Things like that, which is fun and I enjoy it. But I'm also being sincere about the notes. I'm like, this is really good. I like this paired with this, and so on and so forth. Because if I was wrong, I wouldn't have grown by 400% during COVID. Okay, if I was wrong about all these things, our company wouldn't be successful. If I was wrong and people couldn't trust my palate, well, then people would be like, he's just a complete bullcrapper, and we should all just expose him as a fraud. And somebody could come in and do that. But just so you know, I can't wait. Did I tell you my video I'm dropping later on?
No.
You'll love it, Kev. This is kind of a premiere for all you guys that like watch our videos. So Justin and I are going to smoke a cheap stick, a middle of the road stick, and a real expensive stick, and see if we can tell a difference. Blindfolded.
Yeah.
Blindfolded. and see if we can tell a difference. So there might be 5 sticks or 3 sticks. We haven't decided yet.
Oh, I would love to throw a stick in there and
contact Carrie. If you have one, contact Carrie.
Yeah,
because
I'm gonna.
My sister Carrie at Zeal Cigars, Kari, Carrie at Zeal Cigars. It suggests.
I think I'm friends with her on Facebook. I'll hit her up.
Okay.
And it's a cigar, and I don't want to give anything away, so I'm gonna get with Carrie and make sure she includes that cigar because I'd like to see where your thoughts on that. Cigar Show Tim that's on us. So I welcome Tim. Honesty above pleasing a manufacturer, always in my book. Now I'd like to get your opinion on where you get. There's a lot of bloggers this year that come out with their top 25 cigars, their top 5 boutiques, top 5 this, top 10 this. That they had a list of 100 deep. And then you get some of these bloggers that work hand in hand with these cigar manufacturers. Some of these bloggers, have a cigar being produced, and then they get number 1, or they get best factory of the year, or they get that. That in my opinion, that's where that's. I don't have a little suspect. That's the only problem I have in the blogging world. And I don't have any other issue, period, with what they do. That's their craft. They spent years honing it.
Sure.
But when you go and you have this behind you constantly, Drew Estate Experience Acid Studios, and I say the Drew Estate Dirty Rat was my number 1 cigar of the year. Mm-hmm. You should be suspect. Now, I happen to absolutely love that cigar, and that cigar did not make my number 1 cigar of the year. No Drew Estate cigar did. A cigar that I have no affiliation to made my number 1 cigar of the year. So hopefully that gives me a little bit of street cred of when I'm not a sellout, I'm not a shell, and I'm not saying that all of these guys are, but I'm saying a few of them are.
I'm sure Drew Estate respects that too. I mean, I know Jonathan Drew. I know that he's a respectful guy that would say, like, hey, man, smoke what you like. I mean, I'd love to make a cigar for you to smoke, and I probably have, so smoke what you like. But if you don't like that, smoke something else. And most guys in the industry are pretty accommodating to that. I do watch Cigar Show, Tim. I do like your stuff, brother, in case I've never reached out to you or anything else like that. I think, actually, Cigar Show, Tim, were you the one that first talked about the pledge?
Tim was the first one, I think, to make the pledge his number 1 cigar of the year.
No, he said, "Will it be aficionados?" Cigar of the year.
Okay, maybe, yeah.
So when that dropped as cigar of the year, I went, Cigar Show Tim, because that was like 5 months before. Either that was an epic guest, Tim, or you just got a great palate, brother. That's what I obviously probably think you do. So but I thought it was really cool. And then there's other guys on here like Caesar. Caesar's a great guy, but it is a tricky. But I'll tell you this much: I have asked. Or no. I have had cigar manufacturers ask me to review their cigars and review it in a positive light. They've said that, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that. If I don't like your cigar, I won't like your cigar. It's not going to matter. And there's guys that send their cigars to me, and I'm like, I don't like it. I'm not going to bring it in. And they're like, what? That sells like crazy all over the place. I'm like, I'm sure you think it does. It's not going to sell with me. Because quite frankly, I just sell what I like. I just do. I can afford to. It's what's going on. And it doesn't mean that I have everything in here that I ever want in here. And I'm not getting different cigars in here or newer cigars in here. But I only have enough shelf space and enough warehouse space right now just for enough that I have. And we are opening up some other locales that we'll talk about later on. But I mean, that's just a kind of thing. But
it's happened to all of us, and it's the manufacturers that send you the cigar that, well, we'd like to send you the cigars. We'd like to send you a little something to compensate for your time. But we'd like you to review the cigar, and then we would like to see the review first. And we have never done that ever. We tell those people.
I've never done that either. I can say in front of God and all the angels, I have never done that. I will never do that. But I also have reached out to manufacturers and said, hey, man, I love your cigars. I'd like to get them in here. And they've said, no.
Yep.
They've said, no, we're not going to give you our cigars. Yeah, dead serious, dude. I am not joking at all because a competitor is right up the street from me. Hands down. They've actually said that. I'm sorry, you're too close. And some guys will do that. Some guys, if you're within, I think it's like 2 2 to 5 miles, they won't
Okay.
sell to you and somebody else. They won't sell to you and somebody else. It's just kind of how it goes. So which is great. Which is, I understand that, because that means I have stuff that somebody else won't get. Because of that as well. So, but that's just a fact. But all that said, guys, I guess my the thought for tonight, if I can be so bold as to say, spread the love a little more than spread the hate. But in all honesty, join the ranks of the real men and women that don't post hate on social media. I mean, those are the real people that deal with it in their own lives. Okay, don't be the people that go on there and be a coward and post hate on social media. If you got a problem with somebody, go to them directly, or call them.
Go to them. Yeah, that's what we briefly touched on that before we went live. Mm-hmm. It says in your book, The Good Book. You go to somebody if you have a problem. If you have a problem with what I do, if you have a problem with what I say, please come to me and talk about it. If you heard this, don't repost that. Don't comment on that thread. Right. Come to me. It's like, hey, I heard this about you. Right. Is it true? And if you heard something bad and you're asking me, is it true? You're probably not a friend of mine, anyways. You should be asking, hey, can you elaborate? What is where did this person get this information from? Because in the day of social media, what we got going on, we get so much misinformation. Someone says something, and then a second person says it, and then by the time the third person says it, it's fact. It's just once 3 people say something, it's fact, and it's just common knowledge at that point, to where someone could people have misconstrued things that I have said. People say that that I buy my following. But when in fact I said I buy knowledge from people to help me out with my channel, to make sure I'm using proper keywords, and I'm making sure my my hashtags are good. So that gets misconstrued. Oh, Kevin says he buys things from these other people, and just come to me if you have that. And I don't know. But let's talk about real quick what your thoughts are of some of these scores for these bloggers. Everything is either an 89 to a 92. It is rare, and that's the one thing where a blogger has that where we don't have. They can write a review and they can hate the cigar and give it an 89 or an 88. You're like, ooh, that's good. Is it good? You got a 4-point swing. I don't know if that. Why not just make it? Why not do what Lee Mack does, 1 to 5? Give it a 4.2. It's What do you think on giving numbers to cigars?
Well, I think there's probably something necessary about it. I know Cigar Aficionado does that, and as long as cigars have been scored, it's been on an 80 to 90 something scale. I know that. At least that's what I've researched. At least I know Cigar Aficionado was pretty much the very first person to do that.
Is it okay?
The very first video blogger was Cigar Obsession. That was Brian Glenn back about 15 years ago, 16 years ago.
And you said something false earlier, that you were the most hated guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I should say I didn't. Exactly. I mean, here's the thing. Whenever you're successful in anything that you do, guys, there's going to be fallout in your life. There'll be people that are in your inner circle that when you go to the next level of success, that become on your outer circle because they don't want to hang with you and respect the responsibility you have at the next level. That's just a reality. So I saw Brian Glenn grow very, very quickly, particularly when Tim and I had TNT. And Tim and I, quite frankly, had the fastest growing cigar review channel ever in the history to get to 100, and then surpass that. And I later on bought the channel, and so now it's here with Zeal Cigars. But the reality behind it is Brian Glenn was the forerunner of all of this, and he gets undeserved. I mean, the guy, quite frankly, does have a pretty good palate. He's a very good palate. Take away anything that you've met or heard about him or anything else like that, and just stick with the science of his cigar review. It's pretty good. It really is. He goes through the whole cigar. I never get more past like a quarter to halfway my cigar. I really don't. This is probably the longest I smoke a cigar today. But because I'm always reviewing them, so I smoke them for pleasure. Then I go back and review them. I'm like, I don't want to smoke the whole thing, and I don't want to take 5 hours on a review. Not that one cigar lasts 5 hours, because if you find a cigar, let me know. But it's one of those things that like you have to just kind of roll with it. But yeah, Brian does get some maybe undeserved take, is actually the science of what he does is really pretty good. I really do. But that said, there's a lot of up and coming cigar reviewers, and I'll just tell you guys, stay at it, man. Stay at it, please. Please stay at it, because like we need more voices in that. We need young voices. And Kevin and I were joking that one day we'll be the old guys, on here, and the new kids come out with their cigar reviews and the holographic cigars. And remember when you used to use torches? Now they just self-light. You were saying,
yeah, that's it. And one day someone will refer to Ron Real as Uncle.
Right?
Thank you, Uncle Ron, and that'll be Ron's like, damn it, I'm old. That'll be his. I'm officially someone's uncle. He'll have a gray Lee Mack beard, and that'll Lee Mack will be shaking his fist somewhere about these damn kids on his lawn, and but yeah, it's and going back to the topic of cigar, in this divisiveness in the cigar media, it shouldn't be there. We're all on the same page. We're all doing the same thing. We're all fighting the FDA. We don't need to be fighting each other. There's room. We can all grow together. There's so much good content, so many good cigars coming out. There's never been a better time to be a cigar smoker. You have more information than you ever have. The cigar blogs, maybe what do they got? In my personal opinion, less than 5 years, and that goes away. Nobody's reading blogs anymore. Nobody's picking up a Cigar Aficionado magazine and flipping through a physical magazine. So we've all got to grow. We've all got to and the thing is, for all you up and comers, you've got to be always on the edge, always seeing what the next social media outlet is, the platform is. You've got, in this day and age, you've got to be able to rotate on a dime and then take off from there.
That's what I pay somebody to do. I pay my kid to tell me all about all that stuff. This is all the new social media coming out. This is what's big. This is all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to stay on the main platforms for a long time, but the fact of the matter is, reaching people. That's why you're on TikTok. You're great. You're awesome on TikTok, dude. I mean, you jumped on that bandwagon. You were the very first one on there.
We were.
I can't figure out TikTok.
21,000 subscribers in 60 days. That's that's insane. But I'm able to pivot. Really fast, and that's just and that's the businessman in me. That's going back to being a brand. That is the reason I won Battle of the Bands by Smoke Inn, because I am a businessman. I know what people think. I know what people want. And I try to cater to them and to that lifestyle. And some of the old guard, they just don't know. They don't know how to transition. And they feel. Do you feel like maybe they're being pushed out, maybe forgotten about? Maybe. I built this industry, because I built, because men of Steve Sacco was in the Usenet group before blogs was even a term of a blog, but what he did was write blogs, write about cigars, so the people that came up with him, I don't know, maybe they're feeling pushed out, but and what I don't get is a lot of these bloggers, they have YouTube channels. Almost all of them have a YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. It's insane.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think the premise that we're trying to get to is, the industry is small enough. Let's all get along. Let's all enjoy ourselves. And, I mean, in all honesty, I got nothing against any bloggers or anything else like that.
Yeah.
I will defend my friends. When I hear shade thrown at him, I'm like, nah, dude, he's a good guy. You don't know Kev. He's a great guy. Does have a good palate. He'll get to retrohaling a cigar one day, but you can still taste the cigar without retrohaling it. That's why not everybody retrohales, But the reality is, I think if that was the main thing, but that doesn't sell. The drama stuff sells. so and so hates so and so sells. If not, what would be smart is two manufacturers go against each other and release a kind of an op-ed box, 10 of their cigars versus 10 of their cigars. That would be great, but nobody wants to put the risk up there. I'd love to do that. I'd love to put my house brands. I'm just letting you know, dude. The challenge is thrown out there for anybody to see this video later on. I'd put 10 of my house brands against anybody else's 10 brands. I just would. 10 of my house brands versus 10 of your house brands. It'd be fun. I think it'd be a fun thing. And you're not going to like all my house brands. That's a great thing. People start to hear more about other people's house blends and so on and so forth, or things like that. That'd be great. That'd be a really cool thing. To put 10 and 10 or 5 and 5, a 10 pack or a box with 5 of those and 5 of that. It'd be kind of cool, man. It'd be kind of cool. And everybody wins. You get to smoke some really good cigars.
Yeah, exactly. And then if people want to put their palates to the test and leave all preconceived notions behind, I've been doing a thing with Abe over at Smoke Inn, and it's called the Connoisseur Club. So
Ooh.
basically, you get a box of cigars, and there are 5 cigars in here, and they're numbered 1 through 5, and that's it. And these are 5 cigars, manufactured for Abe at Smoke Inn from 5, respectable manufacturers, but they're all unbanded. So they give you a tasting sheet, and you go through, and then the day before the next box is released, each tasting sheet has a QR code. So what you do is you scan that QR code, and it takes you to a specific web page, and it tells you who made the cigar, and it tells you the entire blend. And it's been
is it a manufactured cigar? Like it's already around, or is it like
no? It's completely new.
Okay.
So there are some manufacturers that is using this as their as their test blend. It's like, okay, that one failed. Abe will be providing all the feedback to these manufacturers, but I'm smoking cigars that I don't know anything about, and I am scared to death of finding out that like Saka or whoever made a cigar and it was my worst one. Because that's scary, and there aren't a lot of people. I'm going to do a video on the live reveal, and I'm going to say, hey, this was my favorite. This wasn't mine, and it's been really fun. So if anybody wants to get in on that, it's only like $50 a month, 5 cigars every month, unbanded, and every week Abe does. He has a whereby room. Like tonight, Fred Rui is doing cigar number 3. Last night I did cigar number 5, and it was live, cut it. My notes. There's a whole group of panel, and people were talking, and it's been super fun. I would love to see you do this, and
me,
get your, you, and just to get your notes
all
on
right,
this.
If you're gonna see this later on, you have my contact information. You know everything about me. You know where to find me. Bradley at zealcigars.com. Abe, holla at your boy. I'll get it from you, Abe. But you will send that to me, Abe, and I will guess every manufacturer, where it's from, Dominican, wherever. I'll guess the blend and everything like that 100% with no faults whatsoever.
Oh my God, I'm
just playing. I'm gonna watch the whole thing.
No. See, I'm not gonna put that part in. I'm just gonna cut out that little thing and send it over to Abe, because it's been fun, getting any awesome. Because we are fanboys. We are fanboys, of certain manufacturers. I love Steve Saka. He calls me out of the blue, sends me a text. Same with Eric Espinoza. JD will send me, a text out of the blue, and it's like, it makes you a fanboy of their cigars, and so that's one thing that you've got to realize when you're watching a blogger or a vlogger or YouTuber, or you're reading. You got to take everything with a grain of salt. It's like, hey, Kevin's got a big ass, Drew Estate sign behind him. We just reviewed that H99. You've got to take that consideration for yourself. How much of that H99 was hype? How much was it of my deal with Drew Estate versus, so, and luckily that cigar was absolutely mind-blowingly good. But a lot of that had to deal with, it's a rare cigar. You can't get it. Nobody can get it. I got my hands on a couple of them, and it's going to be a good cigar.
Do you still have them?
The H99? Like I said, they were right now for the next 3 months. You can only get them online at a Drew Estate live event. Usually, you got to buy a box or two of cigars, and they'll send you like two for free.
All right.
So,
I'm gonna,
so
I'm
yeah,
gonna, I'm gonna talk to my Drew rep.
oh yeah, yeah. If your Drew rep will have a couple laying around. And that cigar was a great cigar. So, but that's where the that's where the bloggers have a one up on us, is they can write a cigar, write about a cigar, and you can't get their inflection of in that that writing,
Right.
So it's
Yeah. Well, with all things said and done tonight, let's give our closing comments on the topic of the night: bloggers versus vloggers in the cigar sphere. Because I do have to go at some point tonight, but I wanted to make sure I get this, because again, I profusely, it's completely my fault, profusely apologize for not hitting the record button or broadcast button. That's why we were like a half hour late. All my fault. Again, I'm sorry. I'm still learning all this stuff, because we got to do this again and again and again, just for me to remember how to do everything. So, but closing comments tonight, on my end, I'll say this. First, use social media what it was intended for, to be social, okay? To be social and not to be a hater. Use social media for it's intended for, and respect everyone's business, man. Respect it. Put the boundaries up there, and make sure that you make other people respect yours. That's important. It really is, because if we don't have that and all we do is spread hate continually, we're going to go down, we're going to hell in a handbasket faster than we are right now, quite frankly. So the least thing you should ever do using social media for, and I will say, and I'll go down history saying that, posting hate or shade on social media on anybody or any manufacturer, anything like that, is cowardice. It is, unless you've gone to them directly and said, this is the problem, or anything like that. I would just say, anyways, just don't do it. And just don't do it. Don't be a hater, man. Be a lover, dude. Get out there and say, hey, man, I love your stuff, or at least respect the game, dude. Respect the game. Don't hate the player, man. Hate the game, right?
that's it. Treat social media. So if you were walking down the street and you saw somebody being bullied by a group of kids, don't be the guy that just sits around and watches to see what happens. Step in. And that's what happens a lot of time. People just want to sit back and watch the drama. If someone says something about Brad that is untrue, step into that conversation. Yes, you may get attacked, but maybe you will change the course of that conversation. Same thing about me. Same thing about Ron Reel. Same thing about Lee Mack. If someone says something that's not true, and step in. Step in and say something. Or stop the conversation. Be like, hey, nobody has the answers here. Why don't you reach out to Kevin? Why don't we stop this? Why don't you reach out to Brad? Why don't you reach out to Ron, some Tim, to all these guys and gals? Just be men, be brothers of the leaf, and be sisters of the leaf. We throw those two terms around. You're my brother of the leaf. Act like it.
Right.
Be a man. Act like a sister of a leaf. Be a woman. Be a grown adult, and just stop watching the shit pot get stirred.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing, man. To act like the brother of the leaf, to act like sisters of the leaf. That's a huge thing. So, well, guys, thank you so much for joining Kevin and I on the Speeder Bro Show. We just had a great time chatting with each other. And it's I'll say this, as you were talking, I was just reminded of this. I think I know Kevin really well. I think I know him really well. I don't know him ultimately as well as Jessica does, or his family, or anything else like that. And I'll say this, I'm the only kid, I'm the only dad, and the only husband my wife and kids are supposed to have. That's it. Okay. Yep. And they know me more than anybody else. They can tell you stories. Trust me. I'm not a happy ball of sunshine all the time.
Yeah.
So with that said, guys, we're all flawed and we're all human. That's why God's grace is good and time is short. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Kevin, stick around for this, and we'll be back here again, hopefully soon, with the Beater Bros Show. For now, we're out of here like last year. Peace.